Okay guys, let me ask you something that most people are too uncomfortable to answer honestly. Do you actually know your net worth right now? Not your salary, not your credit score, not your apartment or what your house is worth, your actual net worth. Meaning what you own minus what you owe. That single number is the most honest snapshot of where you really stand financially, and most people have no idea what it is. But here's what makes this topic even more interesting. Even the people who do know their number have no idea how it compares to everyone else their age. And in a world where social media is constantly showing you someone buying their third property at the age of 29 or hitting financial freedom in their early 30s, it's easy to feel like you're completely behind when the data tells you a very different story. Now guys, before I dive into this video, in case you're new around here, my name's Nima and welcome to the channel. I'm a corporate executive with over 15 years of experience in both sales and finance. My videos break down complex financial concepts to help you on your financial journey, whether you're just starting out or if you're already a seasoned pro. So guys, let's jump into today's topic, which is what your net worth should be by age, the real numbers. So let's go ahead and begin. And guys, I ask that you stay with me all the way to the end of this video because I'm going to give you something at the end that honestly, in my opinion, is way more valuable than just a number to compare yourself to. It's a simple framework for actually moving your number in the right direction, regardless of where you're starting from right now. Okay, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump into the video. Okay, so before we get into any numbers by age, I need to make sure that you understand one thing that is going to completely change how you interpret everything else in this video. And that is the difference between average net worth and median net worth. Because this distinction is the reason that most people walk away from these conversations feeling terrible about themselves when they actually shouldn't. The average net worth of all American families, according to the most recent Federal Reserve survey of consumer finances, is about 1.06 million. And if you've heard that number and immediately felt left behind, honestly, I completely understand. Because that sounds like a lot of money that most people don't have. But here's why that number is almost meaningless for your situation. The average gets completely destroyed by the ultra wealthy people. And I want you to just think about it like this. If you and 9 other of your friends are in a room and you're all making around $60,000 a year, and then a billionaire walks in, the average income in that room just became something astronomical. But nothing actually changed for any of you. The median is a completely different story. The median is the middle household, the person right in the center where half of all the households are above and half are below. The median net worth in America right now is $192,700 across all ages. And that gap of 1.06 million average versus 192,700 median tells you everything about how concentrated wealth at the very top of this country is. And guys, throughout this entire video, I want you to focus on these median numbers. Those are the ones that actually reflect where real everyday Americans stand, not the ones that get inflated by a handful of households with 8-figure investment portfolios. All right, so let's actually get into the numbers by age group, starting with the youngest. For households under the age of 35, the average net worth is about $183,500, but the median is just $39,000. And that gap right there tells you immediately why using the average number is so misleading. Most people under the age of 35 are nowhere near $183,000 in net worth, and there's nothing wrong with that. Right now, the under 35 age group is getting hit from every direction all at the same time. Student loan delinquency has remained elevated through 2025 and 2026, with millions of borrowers still seeing major credit score impacts. The average down payment for a young couple trying to buy a home now eats up roughly 70% of their annual household income, which makes the traditional starter home route far harder than it was for any previous generation. And longer renting means less time building equity while home prices continue rising around you. But here's the thing that I really want under 35 people to hear. Your net worth at this stage is less a verdict and more a trajectory. Think about it like this. Are your debts getting smaller? Are assets starting to show up? Are you investing consistently even if the amounts feel small? Those are the right questions at this age, not whether you're beating an inflated average that doesn't actually represent anyone that you know, okay? So let's move on to the next age group. That jumps from ages 35 to 44, where the average net worth for that group jumps to $549,000 $149,600. But again, the median is $135,600. Guys, this is the range where a lot of people look established from the outside, but are actually feeling seriously squeezed on the inside. Things like mortgages, property taxes, insurance, childcare, car payments, these expenses can stack on top of each other in this decade in ways that makes a rising net worth number feel completely invisible to your actual day-to-day life. Alright guys, and just a quick message, if this video is giving you any value so far, please show some love by smashing that like button, leaving a comment down below, and subscribing. Your support genuinely helps this channel grow, so please guys, show some love by smashing that like button, leaving a comment down below, and subscribing. Alright, now let's move on to the next segment. Okay, so now let's talk about the 45 to 54 age bracket, which is where things get honestly really interesting. And honestly, where I think the emotional gap between the numbers and how people actually feel is the widest. The average net worth for this group jumps to $975,800, but the median is $247,200. And guys, this is the decade where career comparisons and lifestyle comparisons genuinely get harsh. People in this range start seriously thinking about what retirement is going to look like. And a lot of them don't love what they see. Generation X sits right in the middle of this bracket, and they are not having an easy time. A lot of Gen X households didn't seriously prioritize retirement until the age of 50 or later, and now they're in the decade where that decision matters the most. On top of all that, many are dealing with the costs from both directions, helping adult children on one side and supporting aging parents on the other. These are peak earning years for a lot of people, which means net worth can improve quickly in this decade, but only if those extra earnings don't get immediately swallowed up by everything else that is stacking up at the same time. So now let's jump into the next age bracket. For the ages of individuals from 55 to 64, these numbers tend to get really dramatic on paper. The average net worth is $1.57 million with a median of $364,500. And this is where the average really does a number on people psychologically, because that 1.57 million makes a lot of the households in this bracket feel desperately behind when the median tells a completely different story. About 1 in 4 non-retired adults 50 or older expect to never be able to retire. And that statistic, right alongside a 1.57 million average, perfectly captures how misleading that number is for most people. And unfortunately, healthcare costs are starting to pile up in this decade of this bracket too. In early 2026, expiring ACA subsidies pushed healthcare coverage costs higher for a lot of near retirees, which is genuinely some of the worst financial timing possible. Alright, and now jumping into the next bracket, for households aged 65 to 74, the median net worth is around $410,000 with an average of $1.79 million. And just to finish it off here, for 75 and older, the median drops to about $335,600 as people start drawing down what they've built. And that decline is not failure, it's the system working the way it's supposed to work. And what I mean by that is people stop drawing salaries, they start spending their savings, they help family members, and some face significant healthcare or long-term care costs that can move through savings faster than what most people plan for. One of the patterns that shows up clearly in this age group is what researchers call the asset-rich, cash-poor household. A lot of older Americans have meaningful net worth on paper, but a huge chunk of it is sitting inside their home rather than an easily accessible money account. Nearly 40% of owner-occupied homes were mortgage-free between 2020 to 2024, according to census data, which sounds great, but if your wealth is locked in the walls of your house, that doesn't necessarily make daily life feel financially comfortable. And one thing I want to address is something that runs through all of these age groups, and that is what's being called as money dysmorphia. Honestly, guys, I didn't even know this until I started doing the research, but it's a real phenomenon where people who are objectively doing okay financially feel like they're failing or they're falling behind. You can have a full-time job, pay your bills on time, and still feel broke, largely because social media is constantly showing you a curated version of everyone else's financial highlight reel. Influencers posting about buying houses in their late 20s, people humble brag about hitting financial freedom in their early 30s. A lot of that is either not the full story or it comes with strings attached that nobody posts about. And guys, you probably hear it all the time. Comparison is genuinely the thief of joy when it comes to money. And the gap between the average and the median is exactly why. Alright guys, so as we wrap up this video, here's what I told you to stay for, and I appreciate you watching this all the way through. This is the part, in my opinion, that matters the most. Understanding where you stand relative to others is useful context, but the number that actually changes your life is not how you compare to the median. It's whether your number is moving in the right direction consistently over time. And the good news is that threshold for making real, meaningful progress is much lower than most people think. If you just save $5 a day, which is about $150 a month, and invest it at a 7% annual return for 30 years, you end up roughly with $170,000. That right there is the simple power of compounding starting from almost nothing. Now just imagine what happens if you free up not $5 a day, but $200 or $300 a month by making smarter decisions about the things that you're spending on to keep up appearances, like the slightly nicer car or the bigger apartment that you don't really need, or the upgrade that you only wanted because someone on your feed made you feel like you should have it. Those decisions lock in years of financial pressure that compound in the wrong direction. New car payments are now averaging around $750 a month, and mortgage rates are still sitting at roughly 6.5% or above. Remember guys, comparison is not just emotionally costly, it's financially costly when it drives your spending decisions. So here's the practical framework that I want you guys to walk away with. First, calculate your actual net worth today. Right now, not someday, today. Assets minus liabilities. Write that number down. Second, compare it to the median for your age group, not the average. And be honest with yourself about the direction that it's trending, not just the current level. Third, pick one lever to move in the next 90 days. By that I mean lower a debt, increase an automatic investment, or cut one major spending category that's driven by comparison rather than genuine value to your life. And fourth, stop using social media as a financial benchmark for anything. The people that are posting their wins are not posting their debt payments, their family money, their second income, or the version of their life that happens off camera. If you're above the median for your age group, just know that you are doing better than half of America. And if you're below it, it doesn't mean that you're behind permanently. It just means that you have more work to do and more time to do it than you might think. Guys, I want to thank you for watching this video all the way through. Please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the new videos that I put out every other day. And please drop a comment below, tell me your age group, and tell me whether these numbers surprised you and where you might be sitting today if you're comfortable sharing it. Guys, I genuinely read every single comment and respond to them. So again, I appreciate you guys watching this video all the way through. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.